Welcome to today's lesson on arithmetic sequences. Now, we've been talking about arithmetic sequences in class, but we're going to go through and just going to give a general instance of looking at a sequence of numbers. Right? So let's take a look here and look at this sequence. So I have -9, -6, -3, 0, 3, 6, 9. Now this is considered an arithmetic sequence. The reason that it's considered arithmetic is because I'm adding the same amount to each term to find the next. So here I'm adding 3 to -9 plus 3 is -6. -6 plus 3 is -3. -3 plus 3 is 0. 0 plus 3, and so on and so forth. We're adding 3 to the previous term. Thus, it's arithmetic. Arithmetic means that we're adding the same thing to each term to find the next. Right? So there's two different ways that we can come up with the equations. Okay? One is the explicit equation. The explicit equation means that we take a look at what term that we have. Right? So here -9 is our first term, -6 is our second term, third term, fourth term, and so on. Right? And we want to be able to determine what it is at 100th term, our 1000th term, when it comes to the arithmetic sequence. And we can create a formula or an explicit equation to be able to find that. And the way that we write that is we always write that as t sub n. So the term sub n, so whatever it might be, if it's t sub 0, t sub 1, whatever, we can find that, is equal to, and now here's where we put it together. Right, so we have our generator. Our generator is this number that we keep adding up by. All right, that's our generator. In this instance, in this one, it's 3. So we put 3n. So again, this is our generator, or what we're adding by to get to each thing. Plus, and then in this spot, right, in this spot, we put our 0th term. Right, or t sub 0. Well, here's t sub 1, right? So if I want to find my 0th term, or the term right before this, if I'm adding 3 to get to my next term, that means I need to go backwards and subtract 3. So it's going to be -12. So my explicit equation here, t sub n equals 3n plus a -12. Well, let's see. Now here, this is term number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my 8th term, according to this, should be 12. All right? To check this, let's see. All right? So I'm saying that the 8th term should be 12. So we say 3 times 8 plus a -12. 3 times 8 is 24. And 24 plus a -12 is 12. All right? So our 8th term is 12, so it checks out with our explicit equation. That's one way that we can write it. Another way that we can write an equation for this, another way that we can write it, is with what is called a recursive equation. Right? And for our recursive, the way that we can write that is we write, how do we find the next term? And that's what this n plus 1 means. How do I find the next term? Well, if I know a term, t sub n, that's the term before n plus 1, it's the term before, and then I add 3 to it. Right? So I know that to find the next term, that's what n plus 1 is, I take the term that I have and I add 3. And then I have to give a term in the sequence. Well, I can give my first term, t sub 1 is -9. So that would be a way that I could have it for my recursive equation that I would have. All right, so this is a way that we can come up with our arithmetic sequence, both our explicit equation. All right, this is our explicit equation and our recursive equation. In the explicit, we have our generator, what we're adding by each time, right, and our 0th term. If you have any questions on these, please don't hesitate to see one of us in the math department here at Ashwaubenon High School, and we'll be glad to help you.